Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Two women who will represent Michigan in Congress on opposite sides of the political spectrum tell us what they think of the validity of the election.
Another COVID record shattered as Michigan's daily case count soars past 8,000. Glad you're with us tonight at 6. The coronavirus topping our news as the data continues to show very troubling trends.
Michigan's new record number of daily COVID cases now sits at 8,516. That's 1,576 more than any other day during the pandemic.
Here's a look at the trend over just the past week, with Monday left off because, as you may recall, that's a two-day count. So today marks the third day this week we've set a new record as we jump right past the 7,000s and moved well into the 8,000s. The number of new deaths reported by the state today, 118. That includes 83 from a review of past vital records.
The city of Berkeley is closing its city hall to the public starting Tuesday. Staff will continue to work, though. Services will still be available via email, phone, U.S. mail, and the drop box that's located outside of City Hall.
And as we mentioned at 5:30, the Archdiocese of Detroit has extended a dispensation from the obligation of attending Mass. That will run through Ash Wednesday, coming up in February. President Trump spoke in the Rose Garden today and said a vaccine from Pfizer will be widely available as soon as April.
Well, at a time when numerous school districts are reversing course and pulling students out of the classrooms, like we saw with DPSCD yesterday, one school district in Macomb County is doing just the opposite.
There are some parents who say the Fraser district is making an irresponsible move. Today, the district explained to our Paula Tutman the reasoning behind their decision.
Fraser Public Schools has a target date of November 30th to bring back as many as 70% of its 5,000 students whose parents say they want them back in school face-to-face. The parents protesting in Fraser right now are not those parents.
My concerns are that our school is currently running towards a plan of full face-to-face education with unmasked kids in our lunchrooms, unmasked kids in our classrooms to eat their breakfasts, no social distancing, and classroom sizes of up to 26. It's an unsafe plan in an unprecedented time.
We took these parents' concerns to the district.
Help me understand why, when so many school districts who are trying this are pulling back, Macomb County being one of the worst counties in terms of community spread in the state, and you're talking about going back.
That's a very good and fair question. I go back to the fact that we have kids in school right now, although albeit very small, but we have incredible mitigation strategies.
The district has had small groups of students doing face-to-face learning almost as a beta test.
We started that at the beginning of the year to kind of test out our safety protocols.
Mask wearing will be mandatory at all times except during outdoor mask breaks and lunches. And the school says it is working on physical distancing strategies.
We're working on having class sizes of about 20 or 21 students in a classroom at the elementary, which is a big shift for us. We've also have the proper PPE that we need, masks. Our county has been very helpful in providing us with hand sanitizer, soap, all of the cleaning supplies.
But those parents who are concerned about even some students going back continue to argue that bringing any students back at this time is not the right move.
Our hospitals are getting to a point where they could be reaching capacity soon. We have an obligation to each other to stop the spread of this virus. And as many of us want to ignore it and pretend it's not here, we can't.
And here's the important thing to remember, and that is a lot of this depends on community and district spread. This plan could absolutely go away immediately. And so, as usual, these kinds of plans are in flux. Paula Tutman, Local 4.
Paula, in spite of the warnings, a new survey finds many Americans still plan to attend large gatherings this Thanksgiving. Tonight, experts are warning everyone to think long and hard about those holiday plans and the risk they could pose to the people you love.
Say hi to the girls.
As much as Emily West wants her kids to be able to celebrate the holidays with their grandparents, she knows it may not be safe.
Family is important. And I think kind of the best way we can say, you know, I love you to our families this year is to keep our distance.
It's something families across the nation are now struggling with.
We're going to look back at what happened during these holiday seasons, and we're going to ask ourselves, were we part of the solution or were we part of the problem?
A new survey by Ohio State finds the majority of Americans do plan to take extra precautions at holiday gatherings, such as social distancing, and asking those with COVID symptoms not to attend. However, about a third say they won't ask guests to wear masks, and nearly 2 out of every 5 expect to attend gatherings of more than 10 people. Experts caution if you still plan to host an in-person holiday celebration, keep the guest list small and organize seating arrangements by household. Keep your masks on as much as possible and open windows for extra ventilation.
There are a lot of people this holiday season who are not going to be celebrating with somebody who they loved and expected to have around their table because of COVID-19. And so let's limit that. Let's do what we can to try and make fewer people experience that in the future.
We're trying to look at this holiday season as not so much what we're going to be missing out on, but kind of maybe new traditions that we're going to be putting in place.
Going to be hard, and it's important to talk with your family about all of your plans and precautions ahead of time to avoid any conflict or misunderstanding that comes on the day of the gathering. Safest option, celebrate with just your household and get together with others virtually. There is a valuable new online tool to help you make educated decisions about exposure. It's called the COVID-19 Event Risk Assessment Planning Tool. In the left-hand corner, you can choose how many people might attend an event that you'll be attending. Then you can click on the county. The tool calculates your risk of contracting COVID-19 based on all of the current available data. You can find that planning tool. We've got it at clickondetroit.com right now.
A senior executive at General Motors is expressing concerns about the spread of coronavirus. GM President Mark Reuss told Reuters, quote, "I'm so worried about it because it's accelerating and it's not being contained." He goes on to say, quote, "I worry that in places that are very different from the United States, Canada, or Mexico, that a relaxation of some of these practices would hurt the supply chain and have us not be able to run our plants," end quote. The coronavirus pandemic forced several automakers to close their plants for nearly 2 months in the early part of the pandemic.
Other news today, a judge in Wayne County denied another attempt to try to stop Michigan's election certification. Republican poll workers and challengers claimed they saw fraud and misconduct during the count at the TCF Center downtown. But a judge called their interpretation of events, as the judge put it, incorrect and not credible. Judge said none of the workers named in the motion attended a run-through in October that could have cleared up some of their claims in advance. A lawsuit filed by the Trump campaign is still pending in a federal court in West Michigan. NBC News now has a final tally in the race for president. Today, NBC projected Joe Biden as the apparent winner in Georgia and President Trump as the winner in North Carolina. And that brings the electoral vote tally to 306 for Biden, 232 for Trump. The race was called for Biden, of course, back on Saturday.
Republican Lisa McClain will be heading to Congress in January to represent Michigan's 10th district. And despite her election win, she remains suspicious of the process.
Grant Herm spoke with McClain and newly re-elected Democrat Haley Stevens to find out where they stand on these claims of unfairness that we've heard from the Trump campaign.
Both women had tough campaigns this year, and while the votes broke in their favor, they have differing views about how this election worked.
As the results of the 2020 election face challenges, 2 of Michigan's members or soon-to-be members of Congress have differing ideas about how the election played out.
I think we should pause.
In District 10, newcomer Lisa McClain casting doubt on Michigan's election process.
What I think is the key is let's make sure that we have a process that works, that is honest, transparent, trustworthy, and that the American people believe in.
So what about the process we have right now doesn't say those things to you?
It really doesn't.
A Republican who ran on her loyalty to President Trump saying votes counted after election night are suspect, pointing to the state of Florida, which broke for the president as an example, calling into question states like Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Michigan, which were still counting ballots after November 3rd.
And this year, Florida got done counting their ballots by, I think it was 2 a.m. in the morning. We still have states that are in the process of counting their ballots. I think there's a lot to learn from the state of Florida.
Just across county lines is Congresswoman Haley Stevens.
We have no evidence of fraud, and we're continuing to take our cues from our Secretary of State as well as our Attorney General.
Stevens was the only freshman Democrat to hold the district that the president won in 2016. Her district had mixed results in 2020.
Our clerks have counted and reported the vote, and in Michigan's 11th district, we certainly feel very confident in the results and are waiting for certification.
And just today, a Wayne County District judge ruled against an effort to stop the certification of the election, saying claims lacked evidence. The election needs to be certified by December 8th. In Detroit, Grant Herms, Local 4.
Grant, one good thing about the weather getting colder, it brings the end of Michigan's construction season generally.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean work on I-75 is going to stop completely, but things are going to open up just a bit. Kim DiGiulio takes us through the changes and looks at what's next for the project. Kim.
I-75 in Oakland County has been full of orange barrels since March, but now with vehicles traveling on the correct side of the road, crews are gearing up to wrap up construction for the winter. While crews are hard at work for now on I-75, some relief is near.
Lanes back open, ramps back open, northbound access to 696 back open. All those things that we are going to be pushing the next couple of weeks.
Which means the project is right on schedule, and all lanes should be back open by December. However, it's been a long summer for those that frequent this freeway.
Drivers that have been dealing with this for 2+ years, it is difficult, it's challenging. But the fact of the matter is, we are really coming to the point of wrapping up north of 13 Mile all the way up to just south of M59.
But it's proving to be worth the patience. Driving on the finish areas of I-75, you now don't have to deal with potholes, and you'll notice new sound and retaining walls.
They're both going in at various locations up and down the corridor. And they do add a nice aesthetic feature to the freeway.
But while this is called a modernization project, it's much more than just making the freeway look modern.
We call it a modernization project because you're taking a freeway that was predominantly built in the 60s and 70s and bringing it up to modern design standards. But what the bottom line of modernization really is safety.
Like these new diverging diamond interchanges they're working on at 14 Mile, designed not only to get you home quicker, but also to get you home safer. After this seasonal shutdown, crews will start construction back up in March. That's when they will work on the southbound lanes of I-75 between 696 and 8 Mile. Along I-75, I'm Kim DiGiulio, Local 4.
Okay, Kim. Now to a Local 4 news update on another construction project. The Grosse Ile Bridge, closed since May, will remain closed until at least fall of 2021. We're told a routine check last week found piers supporting the bridge are severely eroded, and that has to be fixed before the bridge can reopen.
It's been a brisk day outside, to put it mildly. Let's check in with Andrew.
That's the correct way to talk about some chilly or cold weather that is still overhead right now. Temps in the 40s earlier, now we're in the 30s in a lot of spots. How low do temperatures go tonight? We'll talk about that, your weekend forecast, a new tropical storm, and your 7-day forecast next.
Basketball is back, but there are a lot of things different this year.
You know, it's something that we have to do. We want to do it right, and we're going to embrace wearing it.
How one local team is trying to do everything right so they have a season. Next on Local 4.